Hi folks, it's Brendan from bestcraftbeer.co.za. I'm filming during COVID lockdown, so I don't have Rob Cass with me unfortunately. But today we are tasting the local brew series out of OC Brewery, Gavin at the OC Brewery. His collaboration with Donnie Odendahl. It's called Jekyll Hops. It's a cryo-hopped pale ale with Sorghum and Cassava. Before we get stuck into this, let's hear from Gavin about this beer.
Hi guys, Gavin here from OC Brewery. Here with the first in our Home Brewer Revolution series, a series created to champion our home brewers. Jekyll Hops, created by Donnie Odendahl, a 4.5% cryo-hop pale ale with cassava and sorghum in the malt bill. The unbelievable aroma that you're going to get off of this beer is from the cryo hops. Only 500 liters of this was made, which is 1500 cans, of which is all available on bestcraftbeer.co.za. So get down there, taste this unbelievable limited edition, and let us know what you think. Cheers guys, have a good one.
Right, so Jekyll Hops, cryo-hop pale ale with Sorghum and Cassava, collaboration between OC Brewery and Bearded Brew. So Bearded Brew is essentially Donnie Odendahl. His picture's actually on the side with a profile. I know Donnie reasonably well. I've brewed beer with him. He's extremely well known in brewing circles in Africa. He was a master brewer with SAB and Navy InBev. He's brewed literally millions and millions of liters of beer. So one of the big brains on the continent when it comes to beer. And I know he'd been playing around with cassava and sorghum quite a bit. So I wasn't surprised to see him come up and collaborate with a brewery using these African origin grains. So fantastic. I mean, beers like this, progressive beers, exploratory beers, quality beers are what our website's all about. So I was super excited to list this and offer it, and it's been really well received so far. All right, let's get into it. All right, so we know this is a low ABV beer, 4.5%. Look at the color on that, plenty color, lovely, verging on amber. It's got the color of a sort of English bitter about it. Sun's coming through, yeah, just lovely hue, slight haze to it. Unfiltered ale with sorghum cassava. You certainly don't expect to be sort of brilliantly clear or anything. Poured a nice, quite sort of fine head, maybe 1.5, 2 finger head. Really interesting nose. So we know it's cryo hopped. We expect some hoppiness. It's not shouting hops, but unquestionably they're there. Nice sort of citrus rind pine coming off the nose, and then it's definitely not in your imagination. You're smelling something a little bit nuanced on the malt bill. If you have a lot of tasting experience with beers, you can pick up. You're smelling something different here. What am I picking up? Yeah, almost like an earthy undertone, like a hint of sweetness to it. Yeah, really interesting. I can tell just by burying my nose in it that this is a low ABV beer with a lot to offer. Fantastic. Let me try and pack this for you. This is a really interesting beer. It's definitely not thin, it's not full either. Just really well constructed, kind of medium light bodied. There's some malt sweetness. but it's something that sort of reminds me a little bit of a sort of pumpkin ale or something like that, or spiced pumpkin ale. There's that grain quality that's coming from perhaps the cassava. It's not a ingredient I've ever brewed with. I've brewed with sorghum before, but I suspect that earthy, sweet, almost pumpkin-like nuances coming from the cassava. On top of that, you got this piney, quite zesty kind of citrus zest hop note. And there's something that just harks to an English ale about it. Maybe it's just the overall flavor, body, color spectrum with a fairly low alcohol base that is just taking me there. Even though the hops are, distinctly American to me, there's something about the overall framing of this beer that makes me feel like I'm drinking an English ale with a really interesting malt base that has been zested with some American hops. That's the overall impression this beer gives me. Absolutely fantastic. What a great beer to have with food, anytime really. There's enough nuance in here that it's going to pair well with a wide range of foods. It's sessionable on its own, and I shouldn't be surprised given the pedigree of the brewers that have produced this beer that go at something really new, sorghum and cassava adjuncts, and kind of nail it. They really nailed it, which is quite an achievement. I'm sure Donnie's IP brewing with those ingredients has gone into sort of hitting it first time round, but to Gavin, who's produced this at his brewery, well done. Absolutely stunning low ABV beer. We got all the last of it that exists in the world for sale. Is that Bestcraftbeer? Just buy it without reservation. This is a beer that delivers an awful lot. An absolutely world-class low ABV beer. Cheers.